here again with another Mission Impossible episode review. This time I'm doing Season 1, Episode 26, which is called A Cube of Sugar. So Dan goes to what I guess is a liquor store for instructions. It seems to be a little bit of a upscale liquor store. I don't drink, so I really wouldn't know. Kind of weird. The mission is to rescue an agent named Vincent Dean, who's also a jazz musician. He's in an Eastern European country in one of their facilities, and he's being held after being accused of vehicular manslaughter. But he's really an agent. And the IMF must retrieve an important microcircuit that he was trying to get out of the country. So we have the usual team, no specialists this time. Dan tells the team that the microcircuit is magnetic and is hidden in some drug-laced sugar cubes, which will help Cinnamon find it according to the plan that he's made. There's a lot of hints in the apartment scene about what we're going to see, including one interesting one about Rollin and Cinnamon being given something that will make them immune to narcotics for a week. I'm pretty sure such a thing doesn't exist, but whatever, let's just go with it. The team's antagonist is a security man named Cinco Brobin, who has a discussion with his team about Dean going through withdrawal and the difficulties they've had in finding the microcircuit he stole. Brobin gets a bit of a brainwave, and he starts looking at the sugar cubes. In the nick of time, though, he gets a call that Briggs has arrived from the U.S. Embassy and he wants to see Dean. Brobin explains that Dean will have to stand trial if he ever recovers from his drug bender and withdrawal. Meanwhile, Barney and Willie make their way into the facility through the underground conduits, and they start tapping into the electrical system and drill into the concrete. Dan is allowed to see Dean, who's in a padded cell in the psychiatric facility, and on his way out, he manages to quietly get a toolkit into a padded cell next to Dean's. Dan tells Brobin that Dean's wife was going to meet his contact at a nightclub, which is actually the most bizarre thing. I guess it's supposed to be like a beatnik lounge or something like that. It's really one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Anyway, Brobin meets Cinnamon there, and she's purporting to be Dean's wife, who protests he's innocent and she knows the real reason he's being held is for espionage. But she says that Vincent didn't even really know what was going on because he's always so strung out on some kind of drug. And Cinnamon offers to point out Dean's contact if Brobin will promise to help the situation and do something for her husband. He promises to do that. The contact that Cinnamon points out actually turns out to be Rollin, who tries to run off, but he's caught. And off to the psychiatric facility he goes, getting a glimpse of Dean in the nearby cell. Brobin tells Rollin he'll end up like Dean if he doesn't talk, and Rollin starts a fight but is subdued and straitjacketed by the staff, with a generous cocktail of what is essentially LSD and heroin. The cell padding goes up, Rollin manages to get out of his straitjacket and finds the toolkit Dan left behind. Cinnamon meets Brobin in his office and manages to put on a convincing show of needing some of Dean's sugar cubes, special sugar cubes, to deal with her own stress. As she reaches out to get a couple of pieces, her ring manages to catch the microcircuit very, very cleverly. Barney and Willie manage to get to the valve that sends gas to the facility's crematorium. So they're setting all this up. Meanwhile, the tools help Rollin widen the cell bars just enough for him to get out. He uses a slingshot to make a hole in a radiator. Boy, tons of stuff in that toolkit. It's ridiculous. Distracting the guard so that he can inject a pre-prepared drug into Dean's next dose of medication. He manages to get back into his cell in time for his next prescribed dose of what they're giving him, while the drug manages to kill Dean. Brobin is informed, tells Cinnamon. Dan is summoned as well and says he wants to do an autopsy on Dean because he doesn't buy that the cause of death was a heart attack. And that leads Brobin to decide to send Dean to the crematorium to be cremated and ask for forgiveness afterwards. Well, sorry, it was a mistake. What are you going to do? No autopsy in that case. Rollin yells out for Brobin and says he'll cooperate. Once Brobin is in the cell, Rollin subdues him with a menacing-looking toolkit, which doubles as a knife, apparently, and injects him with the other pre-prepared drug from the kit, knocking him out. In the crematorium, the body of Dean is put in, and Barney uses an acetylene torch to make it look like the flames are going up. Dean's body is taken out the way Barney and Willie came in, with Willie basically taking, he's basically dead weight, and Willie's the only one who's going to be able to carry him out. Brobin leaves the facility and gets into a truck waiting outside. Oh, wait a minute, it's Rollin, masquerading as Brobin. That's interesting. The team loads Dean into the truck and off they go, confirming that Dean's pulse is returning to normal, and that Brobin will probably remain in the padded cell where Rollin left him. Mission accomplished. I'm going to give this episode a grade of C. I've typically had it much lower. I remember thinking about it and not really liking it. I'll start with the bad. It is a really slow moving episode. It's that way by design. It kind of has to be, because again, the IMF has to do things in kind of a very methodical way. So on rewatch, I said, okay, it's slow, but it's slow for a reason, not just because of the sake of. So I can forgive that a little bit. Still too slow for my taste, though. What is good, and at least doesn't put it down, towards the bottom in the D's, and at some point we're going to get to a couple of F's, is that it really is an impossible type of mission. This is pretty difficult for the IMF to pull off, right? I mean, this is not an easy plan to pull off. It's simple and it's straightforward the way it's been laid out, and they've had to be very, very meticulous to do it. But boy, it's not easy. And at one point, I made the comment about it that this is more spy rather than agent. But I think I was totally off base when I did write that. It is a good plot. And a good mission for this team to accomplish. Teamwork is, of course, critical. It's absolutely necessary. Everybody's got a role, as is typical for a good mission. I really don't think it's great because of the pace at which it moves. Another thing that I kind of didn't like, and again, I get it, but it just I can't quite put my finger on it, but it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, is that it just seems so easy in the end. It was such it's not a simple mission, as I mentioned. And then in the end, Rollin just kind of walks out of the facility as Brobin and gets into the truck and, okay, that's it, we're done, right? And it's like, on the one hand, you could say, wow, you guys really planned it so fantastically well that you're able to pull it off kind of like that. And that does happen in some episodes, and you can kind of see it, unfold. But here, I don't know why it just doesn't have that same kind of oomph, as though they really, really planned it, and they had this laid out at the end. I guess you could kind of compare it when I discussed a few episodes ago in The Frame. The one with the mobsters, how Dan Briggs seemed to almost have all the wheels going in his head about that final scene where those mobsters are looking at that safe in the head guy's bedroom that he can't open, and just kind of works backwards from there. I just kind of, for whatever reason, I just kind of can't see that, okay, they did the same thing this time. And Dan Briggs sees that last thing where Rollin takes Brobin's clothes and has a mask of him and just kind of waltzes out of the facility. And let's work backwards and see how we can get to that point. I just can't kind of put those nuts and bolts together in my head. So for me, that's a little bit of a negative. But again, it's not too bad. Certainly, there's a lot of episodes that get lower grades than this. So I'll stick by my grade of C. I suppose I could, if I were on a good day, I might give it a C+. Anyway, that's my review for this episode. Thanks very much for watching. Please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Still trying to get to 100 subscribers so that I can do some better things with this. We're almost through season 1 now, heading forward to season 2 and then on to bigger and better episodes. And I'm very, very much looking forward to that. Please leave your comments. I'd love to hear what people have to say. Do you disagree? Did you like this episode better than I did? What else did you notice? What else did I miss? I'd love to hear from you. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.